And welcome to another pre-season preview podcast from the Miles Offside. My name is Chuck, and you join me today in the lovely Forest of Sherwood. What's that? Is that... Oh, I see a flash of green. Robin Hood. That must mean we're in Nottingham. Nottingham Forest. And joining us... You're going to hate me for that. I know, I can hear it already in your thoughts. Chuckling away there is the one and only Mr. Mark Daffin. How the bloody hell are you, sir?
I am very well, thank you very much, Chuck Bailey.
Good. I'm glad to hear that, mate. And
how are you?
Yeah, good. We can do the normal standard chat that I've probably had in 5 of these podcasts now about how bloody hot it's been, or we can just get down to business.
I know how hot it's been. Let's just crack on.
Yeah, cool. You were there. You lived it as well.
Yeah.
So it's about Nottingham Forest today, the second of our preview podcast, which is about promoted teams. Probably the last one, because fuck if anyone that likes Bournemouth is listening to our podcast.
I certainly don't.
No, getting relegated anyway.
No,
wait, what? You don't like Bournemouth, or you don't listen to the podcast?
Oh, well, neither, really.
Fair enough.
No, I do listen to the podcast, I promise.
Good, right. That was the correct of the 50-50. So I'm going to start really with how did you come to be a Forest fan? What's kind of your connection to the club?
Well, it's in my genes. So my granddad was Italian, and after the war, he came over to live in England, and he lived in Melton Mowbray, which is kind of quite close to Nottingham.
Right.
I think he had a choice at the time between Forest and Leicester, and he obviously made the right choice in supporting Forest. And then my mum inherited that off him, and I inherited it off my mum. So it runs in the family. Okay,
so the matriarchal lineage. I like that.
I had a choice between Forest on my mum's side or Nuneaton Borough on my dad's side. So again, it was obviously the right choice, I think, to support Forest over Nuneaton Borough.
Well, I mean, Nuneaton are making a climb. I don't really fucking know. Couldn't even tell you where it is. Any Italian teams then? Is that part of the lineage as well? Did he stick with an Italian team, your granddad?
Do you know? I don't know. I've never followed any Italian teams, really. I've never been to Italy either, which is a bit of a shame. I don't speak any Italian. That's as far as it goes. I've got the Forest off him, and I've inherited his lovely mop of hair, and that's it.
Well, there we go. A lovely trip of culture there, I guess. Nottingham Forest obviously coming up from the Championship last year. Yes. You've been making the charge or attempting to make a charge for a good few years now, haven't you?
Oh, God, yeah. It's been since, 95, 96, I think, was our last season in the Premier League.
Wow. Founder members, weren't you?
Yes, yeah. The first Premier League game was Forest against Liverpool when we beat them 1-0, but, you know.
Who scored?
Really. Oh, God, I can't remember. Was it Stan Collymore back then?
I don't know. I don't think it was.
No. Do you know, I can't remember. I watched it on the TV the other day, and I can't remember who it was now.
You were drinking, weren't you? So it's fair enough.
Obviously, yeah.
In recent times, what's it been like for Forest? Have you been knocking on the door, or has it been fairly calamitous, quite surprising for you that you're up, or...?
It's a mega surprise. It wasn't a surprise given how we played for most of last season, I think. But given the previous few seasons, it is a surprise because we were shite for a long time. And we were, down in League One and then back up in the Championship. And then we knocked about the middle towards the bottom. Yep. And a couple of seasons ago, we just snatched defeat from the jaws of victory in the last game of the season. So we were like 4th or something. And we overturned like a 7-goal swing to end up 7th and just miss out on the playoffs.
Oh, God, I forgot about that.
It was like 3 different results needed to go against us, and I can't remember who it was, but they needed to overturn 7 goals. And we lost by 4, and they won by 3. It was just like ridiculous. But I put a few quid on all of that stuff happening, and I won about 300 quid. So it kind of softened the pain a little bit. But I was livid.
That definitely softens the blow. But you're like, I've won at what cost?
Yeah, exactly. But from last season though. We had such a brilliant season after a terrible start. So we won, I think we got 1 point in the opening 7 games, I think.
Was that, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't that like the worst start to a season you'd ever had in your history? Or something like that?
It was, I think it's like in 104 years.
As many as 104, or half a Stimson in old money.
That's about half a Stimson,
yeah. Wow, so you're pretty down low. And then is that when you, because in the years before that, I mean, we don't need to go in too deep, you were churning through a lot of managers and a lot of players, weren't you?
Oh, yeah, we've been through tons of it. It's more than a manager a year since Clough left us.
Right.
And that was long time ago.
Yeah, that's, for our American listeners, a very long time ago. That would have been before the Premier League formed?
Yes, it was about 30 years ago, I think.
Yeah. Bad times. But then, obviously, you brought in Super Cooper, Steve Cooper, famous for, before this, really, for being at Swansea and as well leading the England under-17 team to World Cup glory.
I did not know he did that.
He was indeed the team that had Jadon Sancho and a load of other, I can't bloody remember it now. Look it up. You've got Google, people listening. So he came in, and what did he kind of do? How did you play from then, and what was kind of how did you enjoy Forest from there?
Well, it was such a change in just the general positivity of the team, I think. Yep. So for the last couple of seasons, through the last, about 94 managers in the last couple of seasons, we've played this game where we quite often go ahead in a game and then we'd be like, brilliant, we're 1-0 up, that's it, sorted, we'll sit back and just let them attack us. And then we'd concede 7 goals in injury time or something stupid like that. And it was just that lack of positivity. It was it was very complacent when we got a goal or we went ahead. And there just wasn't the attitude from the players, I think. And that just completely changed under Cooper. We played very attacking football. Even though in a lot of games, we wouldn't have a lot of possession. So we'd have maybe, there was one game we won 5-1 with 32% possession or something.
Oh, okay, wow.
I can't remember who it was against, but we were just playing like super counter-attacking football. And we'd just sit there, let them have the ball. And as soon as we got it, down the wings with like Jed Spence and Brennan Johnson down the right, and we just smash them to pieces on these super quick counter attacks, and we just keep doing that over and over and over again. And it's just really positive. And once we'd scored, even if we were 1, 2, 3 up, we'd still be hammering on the door and trying to score. And that's been the main difference between Cooper and every manager that's gone before him. Yeah, fantastic fun to watch.
Yeah, I kind of got that. He's a very big squad harmony and, camaraderie and building that and fostering that relationship and taking that onto the pitch. And similarly, you were using quite a lot of younger players and kind of up and coming. I mean, Jed Spence, for example, is now just signed for Tottenham. And so...
he's such a good player. He's so fast. He's definitely one to watch. And I really hope that he hasn't gone there to sit on the bench and just be a squad player, because... He's one of these players that's really good fun to watch. He skins people in just hilarious ways down the right-hand side from a right full-back position. And he just will beat anybody in a foot race. So he's so fast, and then just pinging balls in. Brilliant player, and he's definitely one to watch the years coming up, I think. Yeah,
I'd like to see him go up against Beefy Boy then. See how they manage it there. So are there any other players that have really, that have stayed from last season that you think are going to be able to make an impact in the Premier League?
Well, the big one is Brennan Johnson. He's only young. He's only, 20, 21 or something. But he's quite similar to Spence, but he's more naturally a forward player rather than a right back. But they always played those two down the right hand side. It'd be Spence just behind Johnson.
Okay. Yeah.
This is David Johnson's son, so he's got Forest pedigree. He was born in Nottingham. He's a Forest fan. He's grown up with us through the academy. Okay. And he's just signed another contract as well for another 3 years or something like that. So,
for want of a better term, he's like your Zaha, really. He's your club, he's everything, and that's amazing. Then that you've got that kind of talisman going forward.
Yeah, and he scored 19 last season with 10 assists as well, which is it's pretty good.
Wow,
I mean, it's not Mitrovic good, but it's just pretty good. Pretty good. He's and some really nice goals as well. And you can tell he's really skillful on the ball. And again, he's really fast like Spencer's. But yeah, he's definitely one that will hopefully make an impact in the Premier League.
Yeah, you mentioned before about the counter attacking. Was that like quite a consistent style of play that you had last season? So that, and because it sounds like that would translate then very well into Premier League.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, so if you looked at the stats after a lot of our games, we didn't have as much possession, and we were able to. There was one game where the commentator noticed that of all the passing that went on, the players that had the highest number of passes were the other team's two centre backs.
Yeah.
So we were just letting them knock it about in their own half, not really doing anything. Then we'd get the ball and boom, up the pitch, score some goals, and that was quite consistent throughout the whole season. I think like that.
Okay, that's good. So why don't we talk about transfers? You've not been shy of a few in the last few years. I think I said to you the other day, in the last 3 seasons, you've signed 49 players. And you're up to 11 in this one. I mean, you've got a couple of right backs, a couple of left backs, centre back, attacking mids, 2 goalkeepers, centre forward.
Got a whole team, haven't we?
Pretty much. I mean, do you think that was needed? Were you expected? Did you have a lot of players on loan last year or anything?
Yeah, I mean, we had a couple on loan. So obviously Spencer's gone knockout. I think he's gone to Fulham now.
Yeah.
Keeper Samba obviously was an absolute fucking hero in the
yes.
He left in a move.
How many penalties did he save in the playoff final?
He saved 3 out of 4. And it was just, the scenes were just amazing. It was so much fun to watch, and just the joy on his face when he saved that last one was absolutely brilliant. Loved it. And he seems like a really good, solid lad. And I don't know what happened between him and the club. Rumours are that we didn't want to pay him as much as he thought it was worth. But
right.
I hope it didn't come down to that, because he seemed like a good lad. But you know, he's buggered off to France, I think now. Lewis Graben's contract's up, so he's gone. But yeah, so whether we needed to make this many signings, I don't know. There's a lot of players who signed that I don't know a lot about, and it's whether it's just after the squad depth. Because I hope it doesn't upset the cart too much. You know, having all of these new signings come in when we played as such a cohesive unit last season, especially with the Lingard signing, having thrown so much money at him. I just hope that doesn't make all the other players go, oh, what a bastard, he's on that so much money, and we did all the work last season and got us here. And
well, that's the one that's weird. I mean, I don't like Jesse Lingard, and I never will like Jesse Lingard. I
don't like his dancing.
There you go. And yeah, he kind of sticks out as an anomaly. I mean, if you look at the players you have signed, just in terms of age profile, 24, 21, 26, 22, 24, 23, 26, 19. Then you've got 29 for Lingard. Wayne Hennessy, okay. Dean Henderson, 25. So it is a decent age profile of players. And then Lingard on a 1-year contract for,
that's what I believe.
I believe 120k, 130k. I don't know. Apparently, it was 50k more than West Ham wanted to pay him or something.
Oh, shit. I heard 200k, but I can't remember where I got that from, and that's probably bullshit.
Probably me. I was just making it up. Outraged.
Yeah.
Do you think? I mean, just as that as an isolation, do you think that's a good signing? Do you think it's more weighted towards him as a player or you as a club?
I think so. I mean, he plays left wing, I want to say, Lingard.
Yeah,
or is he more of a right winger?
Kind of across that 3, I think, attacking mid or in a midfield 3 maybe, or left wing, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, we've got strikers, a number of them. Mm-hmm. He's not really a striker, is he? I suppose he's a bit behind, but. Yeah, if you were to play on the left, that would probably complement having Johnson on the right. But yeah, if he plays as well as he did for West Ham in the first however many games he played for them, 10, 12 games or whatever, but he didn't have much of a look in after that, did he?
No, he had nothing. He didn't play for them, and then last year he got about 300 minutes or something at United. So it's you forget that there was a year in between where he's done nothing, and now he's completely out of contract and. It's just mercenary work, isn't it? Really, getting back in the shop window.
I hope it works out, but I don't know if it will. I don't know if it'll just upset the team.
But I
think he's probably got that sort of personality coming from Man United.
Yeah, I've never really sure on what he's like behind closed doors. I mean, there's always the things with like, you have players like Pogba and Ibrahimovic that have this outward image, but someone like Ibrahimovic, especially behind closed doors, has been said that he's one of the best people with young players ever. So hopefully he can be a bit of an influence and someone who knows the Premier League. I think Nico Williams is a really good signing from Liverpool.
I think so. I saw Forest against Hertha Berlin the other day. I went to a friendly at Burton Albion Stadium. And Nico particularly, I thought had a really good game.
Yeah.
And he got an assist as well. We set up Lyle Taylor for one of the goals.
Lovely.
Lyle Taylor's another one. So I spent the last year or two saying how shit Lyle Taylor is. He's terrible. wasn't even good enough for the Championship. Get the hell out of my team. And then I went to see the first game I've seen in ages, and he scored 2 goals. I'm like, all right.
Oh, there we go.
Then. There's quite nice goals as well. But yeah, Nico got one of the assists for that. And had a generally good game. But all the big players only played about 55 minutes. So we made 10 substitutions all in one go on the 55-minute mark, and just took our first team off and put the second team on. And I didn't know a lot of the players that came on, to be honest.
Gotcha. I mean, do you know much? We'll come on to maybe Awani in a minute, just in terms of stats. But I thought, Palace were linked with Lewis O'Brien, and a lot of fans were trying to get him, and it seemed like he only wanted you, and he performed really well in the Championship last year, didn't he? I don't know if you remember from watching Huddersfield.
Yeah, obviously we only played Huddersfield a couple of times, but I don't remember him standing out, because when I watched those games, I was pissed, and quite frankly, I don't remember much about them. But I remember the name, and that is progress for me.
That is something.
And Harry Toffolo as well. He came from Huddersfield at the same time. We announced them both on the same day.
The weird joint deal where they were both had to go, and Toffolo was changing his wage demands at the last minute or something. There was a little bit of a saga there, but got it over the line. And the signing of Awani, I think.
I want to say Awani.
Yeah, you can tell my pronunciation of Nigerian names is on point. Coming from the Bundesliga, we do know there is a bit of an adjustment there, but he was scoring a goal every other game for them, and so you've shelled out about 18, 19 million on him. That's exciting times, and you've probably got, based on your average of the last few years, you've got another 5 coming probably.
Yeah, so. Having watched him the other night, he didn't get much of a look in, didn't really get much of the ball at all against Berlin. Yeah, so I've not really got an opinion. I've not seen him play. I don't know. All I know is that the 50-odd minutes I saw him the other day. Okay. And he didn't really get much of the ball, so it's not really a good point of reference. But hopefully he'll just carry on scoring goals.
To kind of sum up going forward in the transfers and everything, are you at all... You mentioned before about the number of players with squad harmony. Are you at all a bit worried about the amount of money you've spent as well?
I don't know. So I don't know enough about the club finances. I'm pretty sure we've got decent backing from Marinakis.
Marinakis, right? Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
About right. And obviously we've got some money from going up to the Premier League. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping that we're going to be stable enough. Lingard's ridiculous sum of money that we're paying him is only for the next year. So if we were to get relegated, that's not a big deal.
Mm-hmm. And you've got resale then in the other players. Like I said before, they're all so young.
Yeah, exactly. So they've all got potential to stay and pay us back, basically.
Definitely.
It's just this first season, because we had such a good kind of team atmosphere. I think all of the players seem to get on really well, and I'm just hoping that just bringing this massive blob of players in isn't just going to upset that too much and upset the harmony that we've got in the team. But just gonna have to see how it goes, isn't it? Yeah,
absolutely. Fingers crossed. If you were to put a number on it, a prediction, as it were, for where you'll finish this year, what do you think? Maybe a heart versus head?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, the target's got to be 17th, isn't it? Realistically speaking, the target is not getting relegated. If we don't get relegated, I would be over the moon. But, I mean, last season in the Cup, when we played Arsenal, we beat Arsenal.
Yeah.
It was
Leeds
only 1-0,
as well, I think.
But we beat Arsenal well in the gameplay as well as despite
you did
1-0, and it was Leicester. We smashed Leicester to pieces.
Leicester,
4-0.
Yes,
and it was just because it was at the City Ground as well, and I watched it on the telly, and the place was just absolutely bouncing. And the first goal went in, and it was just like fucking yeah. And then the second goal went in, and just the whole place went mad. And then Johnson just megged their keeper, and this is completely nonchalant way for the third goal. It was absolutely immense. And if we can do that in the Cup, and that was Leicester's first team as well.
It was. They were going for that, I remember.
Yeah, they really were. And then Liverpool in the next round had most of the first team out. They didn't play Salah, but I reckon they had 7 or 8 first team players. And we held them off till, 75 minutes or something?
I remember it being late. You were in the game, and then once the first goal, it was a real shame.
Yeah, and then we were still attacking after that, and we did have chances, but we didn't put them away. But we held them off for a long time, and when you see that Liverpool, smashed other teams 4 or 5-0, probably with that, with a similar starting team, you've got to think that next season we've got the potential to, do reasonably well, I think, against all these teams. But having said that, we've just swapped our entire first team around for a bunch of new people, so it's very difficult to say. But I think we've got the potential to, I don't know, finish maybe towards the top of the bottom half or
7th. Is that what you? I mean, that's what I know. That's what you put in your predictor league, 7th, and Brennan Johnson getting the golden boot. So.
Yeah, and those things are facts, and we'll come back to this conversation in a year's time, and I'll be like, "Fucking, you're so Chuck."
No problem. I mean, in all honesty, and it's hard because I did the Fulham pod a couple of days ago, and in terms of recording wise, and I really want them to stay up. I don't know if they will, but in terms of the promoted sides, I think out of the 3, you're the strongest and have enforced the best. So, I mean, technically, then all you've really got to do is just beat one more team, and there's a lot of
that's it.
People that can fall through the trapdoor. You've only got to beat Everton. That's it.
Yeah,
Everton,
that's all we've got to do.
Wolves, Leicester, any of them 3.
Yeah. But maybe probably Everton. Let's be honest.
Yeah, let's be honest. It's likely. So there we go. So we'll say a tepid prediction of 17th up to about 11th.
Could be anywhere in there. But obviously, I genuinely think we'll do well. I don't think we'll be battling relegation for the whole season. I think we'll just be a sort of mediocre middle to bottom of the table team.
Hey, that's the dream. That's the dream, buddy.
That is the dream.
That's the dream right now.
You've lived that dream for a long time, haven't you?
Oh, we're getting it. Now we're daring to dream of above that, and I don't know if I can deal with it, to be honest. I'd like myself a nice little 10th place. Thank you very much. Fantasy Premier League. We've come through this a lot with different teams. How are you feeling about, for the first time, I guess, ever, being so able exciting to have a Forest player in your team?
Yeah, do you know when I was hammering the refresh button on the day that it all came out, as everybody did, I presume.
Yeah.
And I got my. I missed it by about 10 minutes, but I got my nice 4-digit, FPL ID. And you go through the process of signing up, and you can select. I got to select Forest as my team for the first time ever since I've been playing FPL.
Oh, of course,
14 years or whatever. And it's the first time I've ever been able to have my team on my page. I was, unreasonably excited about that.
Yeah, I was going to say, was that actually like, not to get too cheesy, was that like a kind of another trigger that it's like, shit, this is big. I mean, football's silly anyway, but like the emotional connection we have.
Yeah, I was so excited just by that tiny little thing. And then I got in and I was like, oh my God, Forest players are on there. It's ridiculous. I can actually pick my... Yeah, brilliant.
So I assume you've got three straight in there, or...?
Obviously, 3 straight in there. At the moment, those 3 are... Johnson up front, so he's 6 million striker. I mean, if he continues his goal scoring form into the Premier League, brilliant. He's obviously not going to be getting as many as he did last year, but if he can get a few goals and assists, brilliant. I've got Cole back in midfield.
Okay.
So he's got Premier League experience with Newcastle.
He does.
He's knocking on a bit, but he played really well. He scored some fantastic goals as well last season. There was one against Blackpool where he sliced it in from a very acute angle.
That's good. So he meant it.
The line. And it looked like, if you look at it in slow motion, you can almost convince yourself that he completely meant it. But then his face afterwards was just like, he didn't mean that at all. It was definitely a cross. But he scored a couple from outside the box. He's got a few assists as well. So if he managed to stay in the first team, it's probably a decent punt for a few points. And Nico Williams as well. So I've got him in because he's 4 million and he's going to be a starting defender probably most of the time. So, it's a no-brainer, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I'll admit right now, I've got 3 Forest in my team.
No, nice.
I do.
Well done you.
I have. I mean,
which ones have you got?
I've got Dean Henderson, goalie. I think he's a very, very good goalie. 4.5 million, and it's that thing of a team that's probably going to have a few saves to make.
We concede penalties like a motherfucker as well. We conceded so many penalties last season, and we have done for a long time. So it's pretty worth it for the odd penalty save.
Excellent. Yeah. I mean, he saved 1 in the Premier League before, so that's 1 more than me.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, we're nearly there. I also have Nico Williams at 4 million. 4 million. That's great. And Awani at the minute, or maybe it's a Brennan Johnson if I'm going to stick with my no new signing rule. That I have.
Yeah, that's the thing. So Johnson's got he's proven that he can do it, and I watched a lot of our games last season, and he was very consistent throughout the whole season with his performances. Maybe had a couple of quiet games, but nearly every game he was absolutely fantastic.
How do you feel? Because he was added today. Jesse Lingard, 6 million.
Oh, you see, I don't know because I hate the fact that when he scores, he fucking dances, right? And so I'll be hoping that he doesn't score, and just I hope that we score a lot of goals, but just that he doesn't get them.
Okay, I mean you're gonna have to own him against Palace, just so you know, because he will score and then create a TikTok montage, pop his phone down in the goalposts and start doing some dances.
He'll have to do his hair a bit first, I'd imagine, before he films himself doing all this.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. But I don't like him. But if his name wasn't there and we were just going on the type of player, I think 6 million is quite an interesting spot to put him in. Shall we say?
It is. It's at the top end of our midfielders, isn't it? 6 million, I think, and the rest of them are all 5.5 or 5.
You've got the usual promoted team of no one over 6. I think Bournemouth have the same, and the only promoted player that is over 6 is Mitro, naturally on 6.5. So, do you think it's more likely your defensive assets are going to be better, or you're going to score more goals? Are you going to go for more?
I think our defensive assets are a bit pointless. I think our centre-backs, I mean, Joe Worrell, he's our captain. He's a Forest boy as well, all his life. He was absolutely rock solid and brilliant all last season, but we are going to concede goals and he doesn't get attacking returns, so it's a bit pointless, I think. And the same as Scott McKenna as well, so he was our other centre-back. And they'll probably continue, I think, into the Premier League.
Yeah.
But they're not going to be FPL assets, and they're going to be cheap, and they'll be cheap for a reason.
That's a shame. Yeah, that's a shame. But I mean, you've got a lot there that's really priced to buy, a lot of unknowns.
That's it. That's the problem. So Nico Williams is going to get forward, and he might get some assists, he might get the odd goal or whatever. And so for 4 million, it's absolutely no brainer. Yeah. And our midfielders, we got quite a lot of attacking returns from our midfielders last season. Yates, I was going to go for Yates.
Okay.
Another lad who's come through our academy, born in Nottingham, Forest fan, love the boy, but he's injured for the first couple of games.
That's
he injured himself in training and pre-season stuff. But he got 8 goals, 3 assists last season, which is decent from midfield, I think. And he's only a young lad as well. But I think he'll be worth the money when he comes back from injury.
Good to know. I mean, you were the third, I guess, really joint second, because it was only 1 goal in it, highest scoring team in the Championship last year, and you had you conceded the second least goals. Hopefully some of that.
Our defence was solid in the Championship, but it ain't going to be solid in the Premier League.
No. I have faith in Steve Cooper. I have faith in Nottingham Forest. I may even see past the Jesse Lingard of it all. And here's to a wonderful season and another one next year as well in the Premier League.
Yeah, almost certainly.
Yes,
guarantee it.
That's what we like. Mark, it's been an absolute bloody pleasure talking to you, mate. I really appreciate it and getting some insight on your lovely Nottingham Forest. And also, I just want to briefly shout out the fact that you still don't have a sponsor on your kit, and I really hope it's going to stay like that.
Yeah, I received my new Forest kit today. I pre-ordered it when it came out. I haven't got it out of the package yet, so I haven't seen if it's actually got a sponsor on it. I don't know.
Shame we're not doing this live. We could do an unboxing video or something.
I know we could do, couldn't we? Yeah. I could unpackage it while I'm on the phone, but I don't even know.
It'd be a bit shit, wouldn't it?
It would be a bit shit.
Yeah, there we go.
But thank you very much for having me, Joe.
No, you're more than welcome. Thanks for listening, subscribing. Give us a 5-star review. Check us out on the Twitter. Join the FPL League. You can find it on our Twitter as well, the league pin. Do the Predictor League. Predict where you think each of the 20 teams are going to finish. Join us on the Slack for free for another week and a bit before we start in earnest in August. Unless you're listening to this in September, in which case just come give us your money now. Take care, everyone. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.